So today's session is about events in the JavaScript. Straightforward. Okay. Um, JavaScript performs everything as an event. If some event occurs, that will perform a job. So how do we generate or how do we perform events and how do we handle those events? This is everything comes under event handling. So let us go and write some code for first of all generation of the events. HTML head body. So I have a button, button button, and I say on click is equal to 1 second. First, let me create the button uh, click to see something. Okay, that is the button I have created, and I just launch it on my browser. It's showing something like this. Click to see something. If I click on it, that is what called event. Everything, for example, loading a page is an event, unloading a page is an event, resizing the window is an event, minimizing the window is an event, going out of the window is an event, coming into the window is an event, mouse over is an event, mouse out is an event. So in JavaScript, I mean, every moment of action will be considered as an event, and they will be handled in the respective event handlers. Okay, for example, when I click on it, is that event happening over there? Yes, it is happening. For example, when the click happened, you have to perform something. So how can I perform something? Here we go. On click is equal to, I can write it as alert manumates.com. Be careful with the single quotes and double quotes, because inside double quotes you can't give again a double quote. Alertmonuments.com. You see this. If I click on it, I'm getting an alert box and it is saying manumits.com. So this is called as when this event happened, this should be performed. There is one more event. On mouse enter is equal to alert. On this event, I didn't even click it. On that event, that page is getting called. Okay, like that. Everything is an event, and when that event happens, if you need to perform something, but everything can't be performed in between these two double quotes. In fact, you can perform, but you can't do everything over here. For example, you can write a function also, complete function, and call it, but that is, I mean, everything, if you write it in a double quote, is not good in coding practice, and it is not so easy to write over there. Okay, so that is why we define a function, and that function will be called, for example, function abc, and this function will be called this function will be called. So when this function will be called abc, Shashank, you may be bored today, but please be here. So on mouse enter abc, function abc. So when I perform some event on that button, this function will be this will be called. Okay, so let me save this and refresh the page. Oh, what
Script,
is,
script time.
yeah, very good. So
Script time.
yes, script. So when I click on this, the function ABC got called, and this that printed hello Manimits on the console. Okay, on mouse enter, it is getting called over on mouse enter. As many times as I enter, those many times that ABC is getting called. How is it okay? So this is called as event handling, and this is called as, I mean, this is called as event handling. On this event we are going to perform this. Okay, now this is a very old methodology. Everything should not be written in HTML. HTML should be used only for structuring it. Whatever the event handling or whatever the actions you are performing on a respective element, that should not be included in the HTML part. So obviously you have to observe those events not in the HTML. At least the code to observe the events should not be there in the HTML. Even the function call should also not be there in the HTML. So you have to make the HTML as clean as possible. But this is violated by Angular 6. That's a different case. But anyways, that should be done as clean as possible. Then how can I do that? See here. I don't write anything over here. If I want to perform event handling on this button, I'll just simply put an ID to this, and then I will add an event listener to this button. So here I will do this. Document dot get element by ID of D1 dot add event listener of click. When this happens, you have to call a function that is called as ABC. So this add event listener will call automatically when the click happened. Call the ABC when the click happened on that particular D1 button. This is the way how we are actually handling the events now. So your HTML is cleaner. There is no cluttering in the HTML part, and everything is written in the script tag only. But actually, in hidden perspective, I have a very good concept over here. That is why I am talking all these things. Okay, the concept, I will come to you the point. Let me execute the code. If I click on it, hello my name it's got performed. I didn't do anything in the HTML part. Okay. Now what happens if I move my mouse, my script into this location? Come on, anybody can answer this. Dushyant, I hope you are following my point.
Yeah, I'm following this. Yes.
Hmm. Very good answer by Rasika. Actually, ID D1 is not available at this line number 4. This D1 is not available. Suppose if I save this program and refresh this page, cannot read property add event listener of null at HTML4. So at this line, this is null. If you print this, it says null because your HTML will be sequentially interpreted. When it is interpreted, when it is in when this line is getting interpreted, there is no h1 or b1 or button or anything like that. Okay, so while it is interpreting, this will be null. Obviously this will be placed as null. Null dot add event listener. Add event listener is not available at null. Am I clear? So that is how
Yes.
you that is why all the user defined scripts would be written inside the in the body at the end of the body, not even in the beginning of the body, because all the html is available by that time, so that I can start handling that particular elements. Clear why we are writing script in the body tag only? What is the disadvantage if we write in the head? You have to answer this particular example. I think very important question for interview perspective, especially for freshers. तो ये तो पक्का question. For freshers, it is a very important question. Okay, now this is how we are handling the events. But try to observe one thing. I want to talk more about this particular line. That is, there is a function called add event listener, which will take the first parameter as click and the second parameter as the function name, not the function call. I'll speak once again. Add event listener function takes the abc as the function name, not as the function call. Okay, right. That is one point, because if you directly make it as abc like this is also an error. It won't give you any output, because this function already got called abc. At the time of execution only this function is getting called. Shall we see this output? Button id is equal to d1. Why this is coming out? Okay, I just okay, nice. Okay, now why the hello menu bits already got executed without clicking the button? Because this abc is already called. I should not call the function, I should just pass the function. Add event listener will call when it needs to get called. So add event listener will take the decision when it want to call that abc. Dushyant, is it fine?
Yeah, it is fine.
So now you try to understand one more word. So this, am I passing a function to another function call? Am I passing a function to another function call? Okay, so see this. What are the different function calls over here? Get element by id of d1. Is it a function call? Get element by id of d1. Is it a function call? Yes, of course, sir. This is a function call. Add event listener. Is it a function call? Yes, sir. This is a function call. So there are two function calls. This is one function call and this is another function call. So in this function call, I am passing a function as a parameter. So such functions are called as callback functions. Functions which are passed to another function call. Function definitions, functions which are passed to another function call are called as callback functions. Which is the callback function here? abc. Because abc is being passed to another function call. Okay, we are going to live with such with, with such things. Believe me, you have to be habituated to that, because everything in javascript is a function, callback function. Okay, chalo. This is one point. One more thing I would like to show you. There is a predefined function called set timeout of function comma 3000. So this is a function which will console.log of uh, Praveen Gubbala. Chalo. What is the output I am going to get? After 3 seconds, I am going to get Praveen Gubbala as an output. That will come in the after 3 seconds. So what is this? Basically, set timeout is a function, and if I am placing this parenthesis, then it is comes under, this is called as function call. This is a function call, right? In the function call, what I am doing, sorry, in the function call, what I am doing, I am passing a function. So is this function called a callback function? 100% yes. So this will be called when set timeout wanted to, whenever set timeout wants to call that, it will call that function. When it is calling now, after 3000 seconds. So set timeout is defined in such a way that it can call that function at any time. And can I call this as a callback function? Yes, sir. Okay. Now I will define one more function. I will define ABC over here. Sorry, I will pass ABC over here. Can I pass an ABC? I can pass function, or else ABC is also a function, right? But I have defined it separately, not in the argument itself. So even now, manimits.com will be called after 3 seconds. Hello manimits will be called after 3 seconds. Is it clear?
Yes.
Fine. But my intention is, where is that callback? What is the callback over there? ABC is called as callback. ABC is the callback function for set timeout. Both the cases I have shown you. You can define the callback function inside the function call, or else you define the callback function outside and pass that callback function name in the parameter. Okay. So now let us, so far we are using only the predefined functions which have the callbacks, isn't it? Shall we define a function which will accept a callback function? Can I define a function which can accept a callback function? Yes, of course I can. I just need to take the function. So now we are going to see how a function can be passed to a function call. Let us see this. I am defining a function called add. How can I define a function add? Function add, which will take 3 parameters. One is for first value, second value, and one variable for a callback function. So I am going to pass 3 arguments over here. First argument is a value, second argument is a value, third argument is a function. So first, what does it do? It don't do anything. It will take another variable called z. Again, I am repeating, don't declare any var here. It's an error. Where is z is equal to x plus y, happy, and return z. I didn't use that c also, but I had to pass it. Let me show you how do I pass it. Where res is equal to add of 10 comma 20 comma a callback function nothing, or else I can say that console.log of manumits.com. I will execute this code. What did I do? Let me see the output here. The output is nothing because I'm not printing what is there in the console.res. So result comma res. Yeah, result is 30. But how about this callback? Of course, I'm passing to C, but I am not using anything. So if I call it is after return, how can I call? Okay, if even if I want to call it, how can I call it? I have the definition in C, so I can simply make a function call like this. C off. Okay, so save. Yes, manumits.com is getting called. So that means this function is being passed to the C, and the C, whenever you call C, that will be called. Function will be called. Am I clear, sir? But when you want to call is your choice. For example, believe me, you just see this. Set timeout of C comma 4000. What happens? Re Result will be printed. After 4 seconds, manumits.com will be printed. Why? I wanted to call that after 4 seconds. Whenever I want. It's irrespective of your problem. Whenever I want to call, I can call that particular C function. But you have to pass a function to another function. What I am doing here, I am passing a function to another function. Is it or not? I am passing a function in the arguments. I am able to receive the function in the parameters. Okay, there is a beautiful advantage of it. You are going to see that today itself. Okay, first of all, this add function call is giving me the output of 30. Leave about this manumits.com. Leave about the C. It's there, it's being passed it, and it is doing its own job. But one beautiful thing is happening. Remaining lines of code are not waiting for that outcome. Remaining lines of code are not waiting for which outcome?
Set timeout.
Set timeout outcome. Okay, what happens if I perform everything in this set timeout function? or else you just pass the return over here also, not an issue. What happens with this? I am going into the next level, boss, I know, but try to real understand this. Set timeout got called. Whatever the operations I am performing in first problem is z is not available outside this function, where z is not available outside that function. So define it in the at least parent scope. Now z is getting called, z is getting calculated, but that will be calculated only after 4 seconds. By that time, this return z will be executed or not? It will be executed. So when it will be executed, it returns what? It returns null. No, undefined. Let's see.
Undefined.
Yeah, undefined. Undefined. So it returns undefined. So res will be getting undefined. Yes or no? Because okay, in some cases you have to wait some for some works. For example, you are getting the data from the database. You have to wait, right? If you don't wait, the data will not be received completely. You don't get the data at all. So what do you do in that case? You don't get the data. Okay, within getting the data, you are going to return the value. Is it possible to handle such issues? Yes, sir, it is. Yes, of course it is. Such issues will be handled by using these callback functions. Those callback functions will be called whenever you want, right? Those callback functions will be called whenever you want inside this function. So what do I do is I'll simply call this C. I don't return anything. I'll call this function called C, where when this job is over, that is called as C off. You will understand definitely, don't worry. C off. So when this C off will be called, when it completed the addition. So C off, that means this function will be waiting till this job is over. So now let us execute it. Okay, you're not going to get the answer, but still you will get something. Undefined, still it is undefined, result is undefined, but manumits is getting called. So what do I do is, as anyways I am calling the function and z is available, why can't I pass this z into this c? And I will receive the function in this, and I receive that z in this, and instead of manumits.com comma data, as a direct function execution, it is not going to do anything. It is not going to return anything. It will directly call the callback. Now the results will be displayed like this. Result is undefined, but manumits 30. Okay, so I don't need any of this now. So add 10 comma 20. The result is immediately being handled in the callback function only. Of course, I'm just calling this function, means this function is getting called at this moment. So in that function call, data will be passed. I mean, z will be passed into data and data will be printed. So what is this function called as? Correct? That is a callback function. Okay. Yes, sir. This is a pattern. Actually, this is a pattern of writing any function. This is a new, I mean, one of the pattern. But this pattern is having a very good, big advantage. That is, code is much more cleaner. How this is being handled, we don't know. But for the end developer, whatever the responsive code is after calling the function, I am going to handle in the same function call. I'm handling the function in the same function call. I need not to write separate lines of code. It is much simpler code than what you are actually seeing. Because you are looking in this into the for the first time, you may feel panic, but actually this is very simple code. Okay, next important point, sir. You are able to realize it or not? Console.log of this is the last line. This is the last line is already printed. Then after 4 seconds or 4 seconds, I'm getting the result. So my add function is behaving like an asynchronous function. It is not blocking the coming lines of code. So callbacks will handle the asynchronous function calls. There should be some lines of code waiting for that callback completes its job. Sorry, that function completes its job. And the rest of the lines are not waiting for the above line. I hope there are so many JavaScript and jQuery developers who got so much of pressure. It is taking too much of loading time. It is taking too much of loading time. And sometimes all of a sudden, if there is an error in the JavaScript line, it will stop the code then and there itself. Okay. So you need to develop asynchronous functions rather than synchronous functions. To develop synchronous to asynchronous functions, you had to use this set timeout or any IO operations like HTTP calls. Those all automatically converted into asynchronous functions. But if you have converted a function into asynchronous function, there is a problem. Where do you handle the result? Because asynchronous functions don't wait till the result comes. Are you getting me? Where do you wait? For example, okay, I will write another code. Asynchronous functions makes the lines, next coming lines of code executable. They don't block the next coming lines of code. But asynchronous function results should be handled properly. But where do you handle them? You have to handle them in, come on, in
Callback.
callbacks. That is the purpose of callbacks. Asynchronous functions will be handled in the callback functions. Okay. I mean, this is a simple example for asynchronous function. Yes, sir. If you want to convert a function into asynchronous function, you have to perform some IO operation. Whatever the job is there, that should be performed in the IO operation. One of the IO operation is set timeout. Okay. Timer operations, IO operations, HTTP calls. These are all, any one of them should be done. Okay. Now, I'll write one more line of code. I mean, please watch the same video again and again. You will realize what I'm actually trying to say. So function sum, function sum, not should I do now? Function sum. Uh, okay, which takes two parameters. One is 10 comma 20, and then it will perform the set timeout also. Function. Okay, and I have var z. I want to convert this some function into the asynchronous function. Just now I told you that whatever the function you want to perform it inside the IO operations or set timeout. So let me take that particular job in the set timeout function, that is z is equal to x plus y, and I immediately return that, return z. Okay. Now I would like to write a function where result is equal to sum of 10 comma 40 console.log of res. What happens with this? Unexpected number. So it is x, it is y. What is the output I got?
Undefined.
Undefined. Why undefined? Because this function has become an asynchronous function. In fact, I am not even able to return any value also. Has it become asynchronous function? Okay. Can you tell me like that? Has it become an asynchronous function? How can you say that? Say this hello is not waiting till this particular uh, this particular line gets completed. So this some function is not blocking the coming lines of code. So obviously this is an asynchronous function. Is it okay, sir? Yeah.
Yes.
Fine. Next, there is one more. Fine. I'll come to that. So how do we handle this type of asynchronous functions? The only one way is callbacks. Don't pass the return. Don't pass the value return. You just try to call a function and pass the return to that function. So here I don't want any res here. I'll write a function, and here now you see this hello got printed. C is not defined. Why C is not defined? Of course, yes. Yeah. After 3 seconds or 5 seconds, I'm getting 50 as the result. So callback functions are helping us to handle the asynchronous execution of the code. Sir, is this 19th line waiting for 18th line to complete its job? No. Then can I
No.
call this some function as asynchronous function? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Some function is an asynchronous function. Okay. By using this set timeout is one way. You can convert a normal function into asynchronous function by using set timeout, or you can use directly a promise to convert a function into an asynchronous function. Why would we use promises to convert functions into asynchronous functions? We can make use of observables. We can make use of async wait. There are different ways of conversion of a normal function into asynchronous function. Am I making sense? Yeah. So the next class we are going to see the how do we convert the normal functions into asynchronous functions by using promises, and how do we handle them? What are the drawbacks of callbacks and how those drawbacks are overcome by promises. Am I clear, Dushyant?
Yeah.